So what I really wanted to show you in this video is our e-bike garage. So normally there's a big pass-through. You can kind of see the width of it here that goes straight through up to the driver's seat area up there. So we sacrificed quite a bit of that space in order to implement our e-bike garage. But the requirement that we had was that we were still able to use this pathway. It's just reduced, but it isn't actually too bad. You can get from the front and the back to the back fairly easily. Let's go around the passenger side over here and look at it from this direction. All right, so this is what it looks like. We still have one seat here for a passenger. We wanted to preserve that. It may also be used as an office someday. So you can see up here on the ceiling, maybe you can see, yeah, you can see up here on the ceiling, there's a flip down monitor. We may get rid of that and do something with a flip down for another screen or something off the back of this to make this kind of another office seat. So you can see the bikes here. You know, again, this one has the cover on it that my wife made, and this one is uncovered. And I know through the install you kind of know the general layout of things, but we have a bar that the bikes essentially, they don't really hang from it, but they're clipped into it so they can't go anywhere. And then we have wheel chock bindings that we'll talk a little bit more about it that the wheels go into. These are fat tire bikes, so they need a little bit bigger space for the wheel than your average everyday bike. And then we wanted to make use of, you know, all of you overlanders out there know that you have to use every square inch of space that you can find to stow stuff, especially if you're doing long extended travel like we have planned coming up next year, starting next year. So we installed a couple of drawers. So here's one drawer here. We have to do something a little bit different with these rubber mats. I haven't done that yet, but anyway, these are going to go away. We're going to do something different with that. But we installed a 2U rack box up here, and so that comes down and pulls out on slides, and you can see that we've got some chargers in here for our DeWalt stuff. We carry a right angle drill, Dremel tools, impact wrenches, all those kinds of things that need to get charged, as well as all of our camera gear. So these will be charging stations for that gear, as well as our e-bikes. I'll show you that on the other side. So made use of that space. Let's go to the other side. All right, so here we go with, we're on the driver's side now, and you can see the two bikes side by side. You don't have a lot of space in here, so I can't tell you how many iterations we went through just to make this thing fit. Oh my gosh, we're gonna kill each other on this thing. It looks relatively simple, but you would not believe all the iterations we went through just to get everything to fit and to ride in a way that we knew it needed to ride off-road. So it needs to be very secure. Everything needs to be kind of locked down, because when you're off-road you can't afford to have these bikes flying all over the place. So anyway, we've got our rod up here. We've got a couple of shaft clamps here to keep things where they need to be. Carabiner that goes around the folding e-bike hinge, and also carabiner here with some more shaft clamps for the e-bike hinge on this one. You can't see because of the cover. And then this is Ruth's idea. Pretty cool idea. It's a pulley system. So either now when we don't want to injure our back, or in the future as we get older, and getting these 55-pound bikes. So they're e-bikes and they're fat tire bikes, and they have full suspension, so they're pretty heavy bikes. This makes it a lot easier to get it into and out of the vehicle. So we'll show you how that works when I get my partner in crime here, Ruth, to come help demo how we would typically do that. I can take these in and out myself. I think she could actually get them in and out herself as well, but it just is easier and probably more demonstrates our procedure for how to get these things in and out of the rig. So this was the box that you saw on the other side, and this is another box just like it, a 2U box that is for storage. We're not really sure exactly how we're going to set these up yet. Right now these have the e-bike chargers in them, so this is what the e-bike chargers look like. So you can imagine we also have a power strip right here. Not sure if you can see that. I don't have it powered right now, so you don't see the light, but anyway, these can plug into this 6-up power strip there. And then the charger, these have 90-degree ports on them, so they will go up like so. And there's a charging port here. Again, not sure where I'm pointing. Hopefully you can sort of see that. But anyway, there's a charging port there, and this plugs into the side like so. And so this is the charging cord that'll be plugged in, so we can have both the bikes still installed in the vehicle. They can be charging, plugged in, and be ready to go when you need them. Alright, so that's how that works. Sorry, you're probably seeing all sorts of things that aren't necessarily pertinent to what I'm trying to show you, but I apologize for that. Anyway, so that's the system. I can show you a little bit more about the final design once we get the bikes out of there. But as you can see, there's a metal plate here. It's tied into the 4 bolts from the seat that was here, and then this one is also tied into these front 2 bolts and to the rear bolts of the front seat. So everything is bolted in on aluminum plate and super sturdy, not going anywhere. So now I think we're ready to show you how we take these guys in and out of the truck. Alright, so the first thing we have to do, we're going to show you the process for taking the bikes out of the truck and also for putting them back in. So the first thing we have to do is take the covers off. So Ruth is undoing the Velcro. It has a Velcro seam on the back side that you can't see from here, but just imagine the Velcro seam. Then we pull the cover off. It's easy to get off. Set it to the side, and then there's a sequence that these bikes have to be taken in and out in order to fit everything. So this is the binding I talked about earlier. So the process for taking the binding out is you lift this clip, and then it tilts up, and then you push it forward, and then it lifts out of the holes, and then we get rid of that. And then now I'll unclip it from the rod. Unclip it from the rod, and then we pull this bike back, and it gets clipped to the passenger seat over there, so it's out of the way. All right, so that's clipped off. Now we do the same thing to this. You undo the binding. So again, I'll show it. You push this back, it lifts up, and then you push the binding forward and it pops out of these two slots right here. So now we're going to show you how we do it with the pulley system. So position the pulley up there, clip it off, and there's a little ring up there that is actually the e-bike stand. For when it's folded, it has a stand that stays on the ground. So we lift this up, unclip it, and then we just go down, and Ruth controls the takes all the weight with the pulley system. So hopefully you can see that there. I have a chest mount camera, so it's probably not super clear, but that's how it works. And then we unclip the bike, and then these e-bikes are nice in that they roll. So you can take and roll them out of the way, and then, as I mentioned, that's the stand. So they just kind of sit like that. That's how they're in their folded shape. You can set them off to the side. So now we'll do the other one. So we unclip it from the seat, and then again clip into the little stand. I'll put some pressure on it so I can swing it around. Alright, so again, that's how we get them unclipped. And I'll leave them off for just a minute and set the bike over here. And that's about it. So again, I'll show you the binding a little bit more. So this is what the binding looks like. There's a slot here, and then there's a clasp here. And you can see on the bottom of the binding, there's a button here and a button here that goes down into the slot. So all you do is you put that down through the hole there, pull it back, and drop it down, and then it's secure. Anything else I want to say about this? So it's the same thing. There's a binding here. This is actually an amplifier for the stereo that I just put some square aluminum tubing over the top of to protect it and to provide a mounting surface for the binding. And then there's the same thing here. And then I talked about the drawers earlier. The purpose of this is just as a surface for the other wheel that's not in the wheel chock to sit. Same thing here. One wheel sits in the wheel chock here, the other one just sits on top of this box. And yeah, and you can see our power strip, our 6-port power strip here that I showed earlier, how we plug our charger into it, and then how we plug it into the bikes. Alright, so now we'll show you how we load the bikes back up. So doesn't take too long. It's pretty straightforward to get it in and out. But there is definitely a sequence that they have to go in and out in. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. I'm not exactly sure where the camera's pointing, but again, we take our pulley system, clip it off to the stand, and then Ruth will pull from there, and she really takes all the weight. All I do is guide the bike up, and it's a very narrow slot here for the door, but it works fine for a single bike. So it's the same procedure. You move the bike back. She clips it off to the passenger seat. Alright, and then we load the other bike, and then we'll pull that bike forward once we get it in. I can do that at another point. Alright, so we flip that bike off and Ruth will pull it up. So this is easy. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to take any of the weight. She's taking all the weight with a pulley system. And then I can flip this off. I can flip this off up here. And then I'll get our binding. And Ruth just pulls the bike back and it's hung from up here. So she really doesn't have to take any of the weight. It's easy. It just like a pendulum, it swings out of the way. I can take and flip this in there. And the bike goes in and it's all nice and secure. Everything's nice and steady. And then we just do the same thing on this side. Make sure that tire's up on top of there. Okay, so now that's clipped off. We get our other binding. Pop it into there. Down. And that's pretty much it. So now I have to put the cover back on. But now the bikes are loaded, they're secure. This wheel is supported in this binding, this wheel is supported on top of here. Same thing here. This is supported here, and the binding here. So now we've got the bikes loaded, and we just need to put on the covers. We'll just put on one cover. Put on that one. So it goes up over the top here. And there's just kind of a wrap, as you can see. Wraps up here and around the clip up at the top. And you pull it around like a skirt. And then you do up the Velcro along the seam. There's a couple strips up top and a couple down the back side, and that's it. And that's our process for loading and unloading our folding e-bike mountain bikes.